Hi there! This is an absolutely stunning winter morning here in Sydney, and I started the morning with a swim and I just grabbed a cup of coffee from a lovely little waterside cafe, and now I'm going to head home and do the AuthorTube Newbie tag. So see you there. All right, hello. Here I am. Got the coffee and all the questions. Welcome if you are new here. This is a very new channel after all. I am Ivy. I'm an author of several novels. I have not published anything at all, but I'm hoping that in this channel I can show you the journey from writing to publication. We'll be talking a lot about all of those things, but today I'm doing AuthorTube Newbie tag. Alright, so I printed all the questions and I'm going to improvise the answers. I don't know if that's a good idea or a bad idea, but let's start. First question, how did you find out about AuthorTube? I didn't even know the word AuthorTube until like a few weeks ago when I was looking at, okay, what if I started a YouTube channel about writing? But I have been watching AuthorTube for the past 8 years at least, so it's very hard to specifically say how I found out about it. I've watched authors on YouTube for a very long time. All right, next question. What genres do you write in? I think I said this before. I write primarily fantasy and sci-fi. Yeah, I do have some adjacent things, like I have a manuscript that's more of a speculative thriller kind of thing, but it's always everything I write has some kind of speculative element. All right, question number 3. What is your preferred writing tense, point of view, and category of story? I don't have a preferred tense or point of view. Almost everything I've been cycling through them. So I wrote my fantasy adventure in a classic third person past tense, but I write in present tense, I write in first person, and all combinations of those. The only thing I don't do is second person. I just can't. It's really throwing me off when I'm reading it, and I don't want to write it. So category is adults. Everything I write is adult or new adult. Yeah, so I have some adjacent stuff. My paranormal is very much new adult. All right, next. Are you a plotter, pantser, or planter? I think it is time to admit that I'm a plotter. I tried panting a few times, and I really go off script when I write, and I think really great things happen when I go off script, but I can't just sit down and write without a plan. I plot things out, and as I write, I update my plot. So I'm like always have basically an outline and then a reverse outline, and then I revise my outline instead of the book itself, and then yeah, so I need that outline. It's probably because I'm also a very slow reader, so it takes me a long time to reread my own book. And when I'm doing structural edits, I still know the book, and it's easier for me to look at the outline and try to see where where the pacing goes off, and then revise that, decide there and then what are the things that I'm going to cut. So if I need to cut an entire chapter, if I read the chapter that I need to cut, then I would probably feel bad. But if I decide based on the outline that this chapter doesn't belong, then it's much easier. Yeah, so definitely I need a plan, and then I need a plan revised over and over again, and I write to that. I did go off on a tangent on that question, but I can talk about revision process in another video. Next question. Are you self-published, published, or yet to be published? I am yet to be published, and I don't know if that is going to be self-publishing or traditional publishing at this point in time. But what I do know is that I want that to happen in the next few years, and I'm probably not going to wait around for a traditional deal for too long. I think, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Coffee. I need coffee. Question number 6. What publishing company, literary agent, or printing company do you use or want to use? Well, it comes back to the previous question. I don't have an agent at the moment. I have been querying. I don't. To me, the dream agent is the person who is going to love my book and going to want to sell it. And the dream publisher is whoever buys it and loves it and supports my career. If I get an agent and a publishing house, then yeah, I think it's the relationship that's important, and the genuine support that I'm hoping to get. I know publishing has been challenging for many people recently, so yeah, I think it's just finding the right advocate, if that is the path I'm taking. If I'm taking a self-publishing path, printing company, no idea. I still need to figure that out, if that is what's gonna happen. Next question is, when did you start writing? Okay, this is easy. Okay, it's not that easy. I started writing around when I was 15, but I was writing in my first language. And then when I moved to England for the first time, I stopped writing. I felt that I wanted to write in English. I had an obsession with the English language. I still do, and I really wanted to write in English. And for many years, I didn't feel like I had the skills. So I worked very, very hard to improve my language skills, because I learned English as an adult. So it did stop me from writing for several years, and I got back to writing around 8 years ago, when I still didn't have the confidence, but then I decided that okay, it's enough, and I need to go back to what I really wanted to do, and I need to stop procrastinating, because I'm never going to feel that I'm good enough. So yeah, this is where we are. Next question. What was the first story you ever wrote? Oh wow. Honestly, I started with poetry. I would not write poetry today. Like I'm not a poetry person, but I was a I was more of a poetry person, I guess. When I was in my teens, I was this goat who wanted to express all my very deep teenager emotions. Nothing wrong with teenager emotions, but they are definitely heightened, as we all know. And then the first story that I actually started writing was actually what later became my first novel. I started writing it in Hungarian in my probably teens or early 20s. Wrote several chapters of it. Then, like I said, I moved to England and I wanted to write in English, so I completely stopped like halfway through. And when I restarted writing, I actually wrote that book. No one will ever know. No one will ever see that. It's my first book. It's my worst book. It's not a book in my eyes, but it was amazing to learn to write. It was actually okay. So it was a contemporary fantasy with some, it's a contemporary romantasy, I could say, with like creatures who are like vampires but not really vampires, heavily Celtic mythology influenced. It was really fun. It's just not the type of book that I want to publish or want to write in the future. What authors have inspired your writing the most? It's actually pretty hard to read this from the back, so anyway. Vishwa, definitely one of my favorite authors, and definitely a huge inspiration. But honestly, starting out, I was a huge Tolkien fan, like Lord of the Rings. I read everything, Silmarillion, everything that came out back in the days. So definitely influenced what I write and how I write. Since then, there are a lot of authors that I love and I enjoy reading, and they all have some kind of influence on my writing, especially like fantasy authors. But I think it's Vishwa and Tolkien are the main ones. Actually, Evelina Maxwell inspired me to write my sci-fi, so there is that. Next question. Do you schedule your writing sessions or write whenever you can? A little bit of both. I have scheduled writing sessions, but I have a very unruly brain that tend to refuse the rules I set. And the moment I schedule something, and then that somehow everything else becomes very interesting. But I also need the schedule and need the order. I think for me, other than the schedule, it's more important to have like a a separation, a place. So for example, I used to go to a coffee shop every morning to write, and that was back a few years back. That was amazing, like, because I had a place where I was writing. Now I haven't had that recently, and it made it extremely difficult. Even if I schedule the time, it made it extremely difficult to write. But I found like easier that if I sit in a particular place in the house at a particular time, then I can train my brain to dedicate that as my writing space and time. And now you're gonna have to wait for me a little bit so my dog can go outside. Hey, I'm back. Yes, she loves the sunny balcony and really wanted to get out there. Next question. Do you use a computer, typewriter, write by hand, or a blend? Computer or my tablet. So I write on a tablet. I have like proper keyboard attached to it, so it acts as a computer, or I write on my my laptop. I don't really like. I wrote by hand a few times, and it's fine, but I don't know. It's just not something that I was ever sticking with. I don't have a typewriter. I'm really considering getting something, some specific writing tool, so that just to help with the distractions, but I don't have anything at the moment. Last one. What are you most looking forward to now that you are part of our AuthorTube? I have no idea what to expect, honestly. And that's why it's like, you are now part of AuthorTube. Well, that question is lovely just because it implies that I'm part of something. It's a nice feeling. So thank you for having me, I guess. I'm very excited to meet people and the community. I'm also excited to finally be able to share and have people join me on this journey and see other people's journey. I don't know what to expect, so it's just all like feels like exploring a new world, and I'm looking forward to all the amazing surprises that AuthorTube holds for me. I didn't go into this with any kind of expectations. It's more like the journey and just trying out something new. So far this feels a lot more right for me than any social media that I tried before. I'm not a social media person. Happy to talk about that again more extensively on another video, but I'm a big YouTube consumer and AuthorTube consumer, so I like chill long form content. I'm not into short form. So one thing that you can be sure is that I'm probably not going to be very strong on like sharing shorts and stuff like that. Maybe one day, maybe I get good at making videos. Hopefully, it's the plan. and then maybe I will have some shorts as well, but generally I watch long form, and making long form feels a lot better. But yeah, it's just I'm discovering AuthorTube. I'm very excited to be here. So thank you. See you next time.